This is the scene that we're going to be painting today. It's a very nice, simple, straightforward landscape. You got quite a lot of depth in there and atmosphere. So welcome back to my channel. And this one, honestly, I really didn't know what I was going to paint. I just sort of fired in. You can see just pre-wetting the sky area, just allow me to get a nice soft blending of some colours. And I do like to start off with a bit of yellow ochre, and I'm using my White Nights paints today, so I'm not too familiar with some of the colours, but I do know, well, I'm using a blue. You can see I just chucked my brush. I'm using a blue, and then I think it may be indigo, which I'm popping in from the top, which is a really nice colour. I do enjoy using that one. Usually it would be my Winsor & Newton palette and I would use a Payne's Grey, but I find the indigo quite a nice colour for dark sort of areas within the sky. So that's what I'm using, and I'm using my mop brush. You can see it's rather large. It's one of my larger mop brushes, just to get the area of, just to cover area, rather than doing too many brush strokes. And so that's the sky pretty much done. I wanted to keep that nice and simple, and then I'm just adding in some sort of distant hills. So even to this point now, I'm still unsure of what to do. I knew I'd just be adding some sort of distant hills, and I'll do another. This is sort of close, but then I want more of a distant hill just coming from that one. And you can see I'm just dropping in a bit of yellow ochre, and it looks a little bit of green in there. So what I did to start this painting, I mixed up three sort of colours so that I can just dive in and just add those colours and just have fun with what comes out. And so this is the furthest sort of hill, and you can see it's quite the same colour as the sky, which I'm doing intentionally. So I don't want it to stand out too much. This is the distance. So with it being a paler mix of blue, it sort of gets thrown back into the background. I want that to be really subtle, so you can just barely see the sort of horizon line, the hills and the sky, where the hills meet the sky. And then I just want to add some darker tones in this hill closer towards us. And you can see sometimes I like to just add these different colours, and I've just popped in a little bit of red into the mix just to add some interest. And I was thinking, as I did this, I was thinking maybe some sort of is it heather, some sort of plantation on the hillside, but I didn't carry on with that. Now you can see the sort of granulation, the pigment coming down. It's give a nice sort of texture, and it almost looks like some sort of cliff just above the red, some sort of streaks coming down. So it could be a distant sort of cliff or sort of quarry, something like that. And all these things sort of happen as you sort of be loose, and it does help using a bigger brush. So all these things sort of happen. So I wouldn't fight these things. I wouldn't try and be too precise, especially with a painting like this. Sometimes it's nice to just throw down paint and see what happens. Just have a little idea in your head of roughly what you want to do, and then just go for it without giving too much thought. So I think sometimes we overthink watercolours, when sometimes it can be this sort of paint that can turn out better than some of the other paintings that we carefully plan out. So just as I'm adding the darker tones, I was thinking some shadow sides on the hill. So just give sort of, and you can see the way I'm following the land. So I'm coming down and sort of at an angle. So I want to follow the hillside. So I'm doing the darks just to add bits of shadow into the hills and give it a little bit of rugged sort of texture. And this could be anywhere, sort of Lake Districts or Highland, Scotland, anything like that. It's quite a nice landscape to do. Now at this point I was thinking, well, afterwards when I'd done this painting, I was thinking maybe I could have added a river or a lake in the sort of distance, sort of bit of a highlight, but I didn't go along with that. I just carried on, just carried on, and sort of saw what happened, see what happens on the paper. And so I did want to add a bit of a closer hill on this side, so it just gives a bit more sort of 3D, a bit more atmosphere and depth to the painting. So this side I'm just adding in bits of all different colours that I've used so far, just a bit more concentrated, a bit more saturated. So it is a bit darker and a bit more stronger in colour. And now, as you can see, I'm adding my credit card just to add a few rocks. And I think this is a good thing that you can do with landscapes. If you're not sure on how to fill some space, you're stuck for something to put in the foreground, then it's a sort of foolproof way to fill up the paper. So you can use any sort of credit card or any sort of card. You can break the card into different shapes, so you can play around with what sort of marks you can make with these cards. I think what I need to do is maybe break it up again so it's not so the corners aren't so rounded, they're quite large, so you get these large sort of rock shapes. I think if I was to break it down, then you'd get a little bit more finer sort of rock details. And then once I've done the rocks, scraped out the rocks, you got these nice highlights. I like to go in beside the highlight, just add some darker tones so it gives nice shadows. And then you can also knock back some of the rocks, which you may have seen what I did a few minutes ago. Just add a little bit of pigment just over the sharp, strong highlights, just to soften the rocks a little bit and let them sort of sit down into the painting, so they're not too sort of obvious or too sort of so they don't sort of stand out too much. And so that's all I'm doing here, just adding some darker tones, just adding bit more texture here and there. And it always sort of turns out well when you do something like this. So it's a simple technique that you can use, just making some rocks and then just some more details. And then you can see I've got the rigger brush here, just wanted to add some of those trees that maybe in this sort of landscape they look a bit windswept, a bit almost dead, but they're leant over. You can see there's probably a lot of wind in this sort of scene, and I just wanted to give him a little friend, just someone to be beside. So I just wanted to pop in another tree. And I quite like the way the sky has turned out. It's quite light and quite atmospheric, I suppose. There's quite a lot of atmosphere in the scene. So I think I've caught that sort of essence, and that's what I wanted to do. And it really is a simple scene anyone can do. And then just the final touch, I wanted to add a few birds, just a bit of life to the painting. And what you want to do is try and vary the sizes of the birds. So you got some far away and some a little bit closer. so that obviously the closer ones are a little bit bigger. And I think that's pretty much the painting done. So drop me a comment, let me know what you think. Is this the sort of scene you like to see? Just a simple landscape. I do like doing my townscape, so I will probably do a townscape next video. And I'm also working on my oil painting, which I've left for about a week. So that is quite dry now, so I'm ready for some more layers. So I will be sharing that once I've completed that painting for the gallery. And so that's quite exciting. I'm excited about that. Well, that's it. Simple landscape. You got a few birds, and you can see bits of granulation in the sky. I've got the board at quite a sharp angle, quite upright, and so you do have all this sort of pigment coming down and giving this nice effect. So there you have it. I hope you like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.